I'll tell you what, man. Hey, David Adelman's your new head coach, and he was able to get something done that I wish I could have gotten done, but I didn't, which is the interim head coach turned into the head coach.
Did you, when that happened up at CU, did you have a feeling one way or the other where you're just like, man, I gotta put in work and try to make this team
we had to win.
Yeah.
We had to win. Man, it's a bottom line industry, and you know what David Adelman did? He won. Yeah. He won a Game 7 as an interim head coach.
Results-oriented business.
The problem with me is that if I can make the case that I won, but only once out of the 7 chances I had. So I did win.
Yeah, and David Adelman's still undefeated in the regular season, right?
So he's 3-0.
He has yet to lose in the regular season.
So really, David Adelman ended up a 7-7 postseason head coach. Is that right?
Yeah.
1-4, lost 1-4, then 1-3 in 7-game series.
Yeah.
So he's a 10-7 head coach, and obviously a high majority of that sample size is postseason basketball against 2 really good teams. Clippers were for real when you played them.
Yeah, and the Thunder looks like they're for real. Like Minnesota can't handle them.
They're going to win the title.
They cannot handle, which makes it even worse if you're a Nugget fan. If you're a Nugget fan, you look at this being like, man, if we would have won that game, if we would have got past OKC.
Dude, games 4 and games 5.
You would have been.
Did you hear yesterday Josh Kroenke talking about it? It was a little bit.
He was like, it wasn't game 7.
It wasn't game 7. It was games 4 and 5. And you had the opportunity. You had your foot placed, I would say loosely, against the neck of OKC, and you just took it off their neck.
Yeah.
And part of it's because you lack depth. And there are a lot of things that we're going to talk about today. The first thing is I am really, really excited for David Adelman to be the head coach.
Yeah.
I love the person of David Adelman just from watching how he leads, watching the authenticity in which he speaks. Nothing seems like shade when he's talking. It just seems like it is
right, he's
a real answer to a question.
Yeah, he's not sending messages through the media.
No,
like he'll just tell you how he feels.
It gets old, man. I get irritated that I've worked for head coaches that were just constantly sending messages through the media.
You want a name drop? What head coach that you can think of is like, man, he's always sending messages through the media. He's always trying to get his.
Brian Kelly did. Now I will say Brian Kelly did it really well when I was at Notre Dame. He did it effectively. It wasn't petty.
Okay. Yeah, and sometimes it does feel petty.
Feels a little petty. But in general, it's just it adds up over time when you just see through the actual answers to questions. You're like, are you actually answering the question, or are you throwing some type of wrench into what you want to get across? And the word narrator kept coming up for Michael Malone. It worked. He's a great head coach. He won a title here, but over time, when you're narrating everything for the basketball franchise, for the players, it gets old.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about David Adelman. I think it's a day to be celebrated for those people that have bided their time. They've served well. They made it about the right things. It's a day to celebrate.
It was easy. It was an easy decision, at least for me, because of how he handled the job when he took over.
I don't think so.
You think it was a tough one?
I think it was. I was rooting for this outcome. Okay, so just full transparency, me personally rooting for this outcome. The hard part on all of this now is you just fired Michael Malone and Calvin Booth because head coach and general manager did not get along.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
No, that's exactly why they got.
So now you hire a head coach. What's the other half of that relationship?
Yeah. Yeah, and who's that going to be? How long is it going to take?
Well, what's that relationship going to look like?
Yeah. Well, I tell you
that's
right
where
now,
I'm not good.
It's not going to look.
I'm not good right now.
Oh, really?
I'm not. You did this out of turn, out of order.
Right, I get it, but I'm also of the opinion at this point in the sports calendar where you just do whatever feels right, I guess.
Okay, cool. Then whatever
Don't do
feels
it like
right.
Just because everybody hires a GM and then gets a coach. The GM who comes in, whether they do like what Josh was suggesting yesterday, because he both said that they'd like to promote from within, but he also said he's done that for a couple of cycles and maybe they'd look outside the organization. So how long is it going to? Are we going to be looking for a GM all summer long? Is that what this search is going to look like?
You're saying don't do what everybody else does. Okay, well, you did it your way before.
You think they're going to hire a GM who's going to walk in and be like, I don't like David Adelman as the head coach. We got to think about somebody else.
Michael Malone was in place as the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Booth was promoted from within, but made the general manager.
Mm-hmm.
What ultimately led to the demise of the two of them?
Well, yeah, they didn't agree on anything, it sounded like.
Yeah, so...
Or Calvin Booth kept trying to... It sounds like Calvin Booth was trying to do what Josh Kroenke was asking him to do, which is look farther into the future. That's his job. That's his job, to look farther in the future. And Coach Malone was concerned about the right now. Like, it's January, and we're down by 15 to the Washington Wizards. I'm playing Joker 48 minutes tonight because we're not losing this, you know what I mean?
Right,
and at the same time, Calvin Booth is sitting there like, yo, you got to play Julian. You put Julian Strawther in this game. Put Peyton Watson in this game.
We got to see what we have with Pickett.
It's going to be tough for David Adelman. Like, I also agree that I think that's probably a good hire. That's probably where I was leaning, too.
I'm great with the hire, dude. Like, I don't want anybody to misread what I'm talking about right here. I love David Adelman. I don't want 2 years from now for there to be another big-time butting of heads between general manager and head coach, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different outcome.
Yeah. I get it. Because I was assuming, and I thought we were all on the same page. You tell me if I'm wrong. KJ, you tell me if I'm wrong. You tell me if I'm wrong. I thought we were all on the same page. That last year, this year that was just completed, was going to be the come to Jesus year. Like the year that, hey, man, this is your shot. This is your chance, man. I know the year before, it didn't work out. Jamal was hurt. You guys were exhausted in the playoffs. You lost Game 7 in Minnesota. Well, here's your chance to redeem yourself. Here's your chance to redeem yourself. We've gone through this entire season. And now they're like, well, we're going to give them one more chance. One more chance. And it's because you can't make there is no changes that you can make, right? There is no trade that you can make. There is no free agent you can bring in. Like when Josh Kroenke was talking yesterday about, it's going to have to be internal. The improvement of this team has to be internal. Matter of fact, KJ, do you have that cut? Matter of fact, what's the next cut on the list that you wanted to play for us? Let's hear a little bit more from Josh Kroenke.
Oh, I got to pick one.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. Go ahead. My bad.
You know what? You know what? KJ's brain.
Yeah.
It took that day off.
Yeah.
So, KJ's brain's like, I got that email. I'm not coming in.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
In.
That's what I'm talking about. So KJ, give me a cut from Josh. If you can find the one where he's talking about the internal development, because I'm assuming that means, and it's going to be tough, because you're going to have to say, hey, David Adelman, guess what you have to do this season? You have to make sure at the end of this regular season, Julian Strawther is a better player than when he started, that Peyton Watson is better than when he started, that De'Ron Holmes is better than when he started, that Jamal Murray is better than when he's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's basically saying, hey, you know what our improvement has to be? It has to be all these guys. You have to get all these guys, and you have to be better than you were last season, and you have to be better than you were the season before that. And I think that's a tough ask, right? Like, how much better, in your opinion, how much better of a basketball player can Jamal Murray be? How much better of a basketball player can Michael Porter Jr. be?
Significantly better.
Oh, really? You think so? You think so? They have not reached their ceiling. You still think there's room for improvement?
You know what the two of them have to have? And this is accountability in a franchise.
Yeah.
And I don't know what types of, I guess, measures of accountability that the franchise can put in place for these two players. They need to have their best offseason of their career. The best recovery offseason.
Right. Like,
the best.
Jamal, when October hits, you're going to be in the best shape you've
dude,
ever been in your life.
Hey, Jamal, I get it that you're not team hard body.
Yeah.
Right? This team is not made up of many guys that are team hard body.
There's only Aaron Gordon's rocking like a six-pack abs.
That the wife looks at and she's like, yeah, I'd take that dude over you. Yeah, definitely. Everybody else, they're like, they kind of look like a bag of milk like I do.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just be Jamal Murray for as athletic, explosive, dynamic
Jamal
as
and
he is.
Joker, right, yeah.
But you know what? Hey, Jamal Murray, when you come back.
What's that?
Hey, let's see if a tricep can pop out of your arm. Do you think is that doable?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Can we see maybe like ab up a little bit, you know? And be healthy and be fit so that you're not required to take stretches of a season where you're not
3 months of the season to get in shape.
Yes,
basically.
I don't like that. Can't happen. Michael Porter Jr. Dude, I get it, man. We unfortunately we all are very well aware of all of your injury history, man. To the point where it's starting to get to, all right, you've told us so much. Should you even be on this team?
Yeah.
So address your deficiencies, and if you can't, you're not an NBA basketball player anymore.
Yeah, but at that point, there's still nothing you can do because you can't make any trades. But you know what I mean? Like you're like the Nuggets find themselves in the position where you're like, hey, everybody, I need all of you to play better, and then if you don't, there's no alternative to that. Either you play good and we contend for a title, or you play mediocre and we get bounced in the playoffs. And there is no in between. There is no other answer. It feels like that's the only answer we can get right now. Because there is no massive trade. You have no draft picks. You can't bring in anybody. You know what I mean?
The Nuggets core, when they're at their best and healthiest, and when a head coach, which I do believe David Adelman will do, when he develops and plays and creates some form of at least set of data of which you know what you have in Pickett, Strother, Deron Holmes next year, play those guys. Because you can't play Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray upwards of 40.
But you're a head coach. Coach, if you're in a game, like, we had this same conversation, like, this is the only thing that pisses me off. We're having the same conversations right now that we were having 365 days ago when the Nuggets got bounced.
You're exactly right.
So, and it's like, you got to do something different. You got to do something different. But as a head coach, if David Adelman is sitting there in the middle of the season and it's a tight game against a division or whoever it's going to be, it goes against your very instinct to be like, I don't care if we win this game. I got to this is a teaching opportunity for these young players.
So what are we doing right now as a franchise that's any different than what we did 365 days ago?
I don't know. Nothing right now. Well,
I mean, you could say
brand new head coach,
brand new head coach,
manager, right?
Right. Those two pieces. But Josh Kroenke addressed it. You're not going to go outside and find your Luka Doncic to just show up miraculously and
you don't
save this franchise.
The culture, do you? Like the culture of the team as it is right now?
I'd like to see a more. I didn't love the signs going into this season, namely from Jamal Murray, and Team Canada and the Olympics. And I understand everybody's got their choice to do what they want to do with their off seasons, but guess what? Those choices, they end up leading to what happens in the regular season. And that's what you have to you make your bed and you sleep in it.
Yeah.
And Jamal Murray's got to have his best offseason. Michael Porter Jr.'s got to have his best offseason. Heck, I'll be honest. After how much Nikola Jokic was grinding this year and how beat up his body looked, he's got to have his best offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, he can have his 3 to 9 days of just one beers. But after that, man, he's got to get at least in his version of being the best that he can be, the most recovered he can be, because you're going to rely on the big fella because he's the best in the world. But you gotta be better around him, and I think that's a choice. That's an individual athlete's choice, and it's a choice that can't be made. And hopefully, David Adelman is the coach to have those real conversations, genuine conversations, and talk about where this franchise needs to go and what you, Jamal Murray, what you, Michael Porter Jr., what the two of you have to do this offseason in order to have the best possible chance to do that.